If you already have Blender and the Sensei Format add-on installed, then you can go ahead and skip this video and head over to the next tutorial. Although I will be showing you a tip which will ensure you will never have trouble installing another add-on again, regardless of what operating system you're using or what kind of add-on it is, so you might want to stick around for that. So I'm on a Windows 7 computer right now, but if you are on Windows 10 or some other version of Windows or using Mac OS or Linux, that's fine too. The basic download and install process for Blender and Sensei Format is the same for most computers. So to get Blender, let's head over to our internet browser and type in blender.org/download. This is the official download page for Blender, so I always recommend getting your version of Blender from this page. Okay, so if we scroll down, we see that Blender is widely supported across most operating systems. So you've got your Windows versions, your Mac versions, and your Linux version. So unless the computer you're on is like 15 years old, most likely you're going to want the 64-bit version. And you can download either the zip or the installer. However, if you're on Windows, I recommend using the installer version. And so I'm just going to download the 64-bit installer version of Windows, and most likely that's probably what you're going to need to get also. So click that, and immediately we're taken to the next page, and you can see the download has begun there. Okay, as you can see, Blender has finished downloading here, so I'm going to minimize out my browser. And here is the installer version. Well, if you downloaded a zip version, you'll need to unzip that and then store that folder somewhere safe on your computer, say wherever you keep other programs that aren't installer programs. But we're just going to want to click on this and follow the instructions pretty much. If you downloaded the installer version, click next, install. Alright, so now Blender has finished installing. I usually like to keep Blender right on my taskbar, so I'm going to right-click this icon and press Pin to Taskbar. If you're on Windows 10, getting programs to stick to your taskbar is a little more annoying. You may have to actually come here and search for the program and then right-click the actual .exe program to get it to pin to your taskbar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these by deleting them because I don't need them anymore. And let's go ahead and open up Blender. So we've got a fresh default install of Blender 2.78c at the time of this video. Obviously, if this is in the future, you'll have a newer version. But here's what default Blender looks like. Okay, so the next step is to get this Sensei Format add-on installed. So to do that, first we'll need the add-on. So let's get back in our browser, head over to blendersensei.com. And I'm going to click the store page and scroll down here to the bottom, and here we can just press download. If you're on the actual segment 1 crash course page, you can just click the link to download Sensei Format from the tutorial files. Okay, so that's done, so I'm going to X this out, and there is senseiformat.zip. Now, it doesn't matter where you download this file to. You don't need to put it in any sort of special Blender folder or anything like that. But you do want to make sure that it remains zipped. So it needs to say senseiformat.zip. Now some internet browsers like Safari will automatically unzip things. And if that's the case, you need to either learn how to change that setting on Safari or rezip the folder once it downloads if it automatically unzipped. Or indeed use another browser like Chrome or Firefox or something to download because they do not automatically unzip stuff. Okay, so here's our file. We're good to go. Let's open Blender back up. I'm going to go to File, User Preferences, and expand this window because it's easier to do like that. Click Add-ons. Down here where it says Install from File, I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to click on this system bookmark here that says Desktop because that's where I downloaded the senseiformat.zip file. If you downloaded yours somewhere else, you may have to navigate through your computer's folders and, just look for it wherever you downloaded it to, but mine's on my desktop, so I'll just click it there. Once again, make sure it's the senseiformat.zip, and then click Install from File. Okay, now we can see the add-on has been imported into Blender. All we have to do now is click the check mark by it. And when we do, we get this nice pop-up message, which is letting us know that after you activate Sensei Format, if you go to the File menu and click Sensei Format, you'll have the option to deactivate Sensei Format or reactivate it. So deactivating Sensei Format once you install will return all your previous workspaces, themes, settings, and so on. And then activating will return you back to your Sensei Format settings. It's also letting us know that if you're a previous Blender user and you have additional add-ons activated or you're using third-party add-ons, that you'll have to reactivate them after you first install Sensei Format. Now, you only have to do this once, so after you activate Sensei Format the first time, if you had add-ons you were using like Make Human or some other third-party add-ons or whatever, you'll have to go back into the add-on section, recheck those, and click Save User Settings. After that, you'll be able to update Sensei Format as well as Blender and automatically carry over all your settings. You'll never have to reactivate your add-ons or anything like that. So it's just basically letting us know that stuff. And then also that activating or deactivating will have to shut down Blender after it does that. So just click OK. And when we click back on Blender, now Sensei Format has been installed. So now that Sensei Format is installed, if you click File, you'll notice this little Sensei Format menu here, which first thing right off the bat, I recommend you click this link and this link to download the manual and hotkeys PDF so you can get a handle on things. But also, as the little message says, you can deactivate Sensei Format anytime you want. Say you just installed Sensei Format, but you've been using Blender for a while and you're like freaked out by this new user interface or whatever, you can press this and another message will pop up. And if you click OK, you'll be immediately taken back to all your settings, theming, and so on. So the settings we were returned to just now were from a fresh default install of Blender, so that's why it looks like this. However, say you had a bunch of custom stuff going on, that would all be returned as well. But if you want to get back, go to File, Sensei Format, Activate Sensei, click OK. It's got to shut Blender down. And we come down, click Blender back open, and here is Sensei Format. So another thing you're probably noticing is this kind of file browser area with all these like weird named folders. So like, what is all that junk? This is part of the Sensei Format Assets library, which works in conjunction with this button here. And right now, it's not set to any particular location, so it's probably just sitting like right on the C hard drive. And we're going to discuss setting this up and getting this ready to help us on our Blender learning journey in the next tutorial. And finally, before we go, I told you I was going to tell you a tip that would help you to install any add-on into Blender and always make sure it goes off without a hitch. To explain what I mean, I'm going to minimize this out for a second, and here is the Sensei Format zip file, the add-on that we installed a minute ago. Okay, so the reason why we had to install this as a zip file is because this add-on contains an init.py file. So if I were to extract this here or unzip it basically, and we open up the folder that was inside that zip, notice that there is this -init-.py file. Any add-on, if you open it up and you see this anywhere inside of it, this means you're always going to have to install that add-on as a zipped file when you install it from within Blender's user preferences. Now, on the other hand, if you open this up and you find a file that instead of init.py, say it just is called some add-on.py, or I don't know, the greatest add-on ever.py, but basically there's no init.py file in it, you're going to have to first unzip that add-on and install it as just the py file. So if this were the case, you would be opening up Blender's user preferences and you would be selecting the .py file inside of the folder as opposed to installing the zip file directly. So I get that that's a bit confusing. Fortunately, it's not like you're installing add-ons like every day of the week or something. You know, it's something that you don't have to do quite that often. But if you just remember that if an add-on has an init.py file in it, it means you have to install it as a zip. And if it doesn't have that, you have to select the actual addon.py file when installing it. But that's going to about do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next tutorial where we get the library all good and set up.